Hi. Well, now we're coming to the part 2, starting from chapter 8 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023. So let me start here. Chapter 8 of offences relating to the Army, Navy and Air Force. 159, abetting mutiny or attempting to seduce a soldier, sailor or airman from his duty. 160, abatement of mutiny if mutiny is committed in consequence thereof. So 161, abatement of assault by soldier, sailor or airman on his superior officer when in execution of his offence. 162, abatement of such assault if assault committed. 163, abatement of desertion of soldier, sailor or airman. 164, harboring deserter. 165, deserter concealed on board merchant vessel through negligence of master. 166, abatement of act of insubordination by soldier, sailor or airman. 167, persons subject to certain acts. 168, wearing garb or carrying token used by soldier, sailor or airman. Chapter 9 of offences relating to elections. 169, candidate electoral right defined. 170, bribery. 171, undue influence at elections. 172, personation of elections. 173, punishment for bribery. 174, punishment for undue influence or personation at an election. 175, false statement in connection with an election. 176, illegal payments in connection with an election. 177, failure to keep election accounts. Now, Chapter 10 of offences relating to coin, currency notes, bank notes, and government stamps. 178, counterfeiting coin, government stamps, currency notes, or bank notes. 179, using as genuine, forged, or counterfeit coin, government stamp, currency notes, or bank notes. 180, possession of forged or counterfeit coin, government stamp, currency notes, or bank notes. 181, making or possessing instruments or materials for forging or counterfeiting coin, government stamp, currency notes, or bank notes. 182, making or using documents resembling currency notes or bank notes. 183, effacing writing from substance bearing government stamp or removing from document or stamp used for it with intent to cause loss to government. 184, using government stamp known to have been before used. 185, erasure of mark denoting that stamp has been used. 186, prohibition of fictitious stamps. 187, person employed in mint causing coin to be different weight or composition from that fixed by law. 188, unlawfully taking coining instrument from mint. Chapter 11 of offences against the public tranquility. 189, unlawful assembly. 190, every member of unlawful assembly guilty of offence committed in prosecution of common object. 191, writing. 192, want only giving provocation with intent to cause riot if writing be committed, if not committed. 193, liability of owner, occupier, etc. of land on which an unlawful assembly or riot takes place. 194, affray. 195, assaulting or obstructing public servant when suppressing riot. 196, promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, etc., and doing acts prejudicial to maintenance of harmony. 197, imputations, assertions prejudicial to national integration. Chapter 12 of offences by or relating to public servants. 198, public servant disobeying law with intent to cause injury to any person. 199, public servant disobeying directions under law. 200, punishment for non-treatment of victim. 201, public servant framing an incorrect document with intent to cause an injury. 202, public servant unlawfully engaging in trade. 203, public servant unlawfully buying or bidding for property. 204, personating a public servant. 205, wearing garb or carrying token used by public servant with fraudulent intent. Chapter 12 of contempts of the lawful authority of public servants. 206, absconding to avoid service of summons or other proceedings. 207, preventing service of summons or other proceedings or preventing publication thereof. 208, non-attendance in obedience to an order from public servant. 209 non-appearance in response to a proclamation under section 84 of Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. 210 omission to produce document or electronic record to public servant by person legally bound to produce it. 211 omission to give notice or information to public servant by person legally bound to give it. 212 furnishing false information. 213 refusing oath or affirmation when duly required by public servant to make it. 214 refusing to answer public servant authorized to question. 215 refusing to sign statement. 216 false statement on oath or affirmation to public servant or person authorized to administer an oath or affirmation. 217 false information with intent to cause public servant to use his lawful power or injury of another person. 218 resistance to taking of property by lawful authority of a public servant. 219 obstructing sale of property offered for sale by authority of public servant. 220 illegal purchase or bid for property offered for sale by authority of public servant. 221 obstructing public servant in discharge of public function. 222 omission to assist public servant when bound by law to give assistance. 223 disobedience to order duly promulgated by public servant. 224 threat or injury to public servant. 225 threat or injury to induce person to refrain from applying for protection to public servant. 226 attempt to commit suicide to compel or restrain exercise of lawful power. Chapter 14 of false evidence and offences against public justice. 227 giving false evidence. 228 fabricating false evidence. 229 punishment for false evidence. 230 giving or fabricating false evidence with intent to procure conviction of capital offence. 231 giving or fabrication false evidence intent to procure conviction of offence punishable with imprisonment for life or imprisonment. 232 threatening any person to give false evidence. 233 using evidence known to be false. 234 issuing or signing false certificate. 235 using as true a certificate known to be false. 236 false statement made in declaration which is by law receivable as evidence. 237 using as true such declaration knowing it to be false. 238 causing disappearance of evidence of offence or giving false information to screen offender. 239 intentional omission to give information of offence by person bound to inform. 240 giving information respecting an offence committed. 241 destruction of document or electronic record to prevent its production as evidence. 242 false personation for purpose of act or proceeding in suit or prosecution. 243 fraudulent removal or concealment of property to prevent its seizure as forfeited or in execution. 244 fraudulent claim to property to prevent its seizure as forfeited or in execution. 245 fraudulent suffering decree for sum not due. 246 dishonestly making false claim in court. 247 fraudulently obtaining decree for sum not due. 248 false charge for offence made with intent to injure. 249 harboring offender. 250 taking gift etc. to screen an offender from punishment. 251 offering gift or restoration of property in consideration of screening offender. 252 taking gift to help to recover stolen property. 253 harboring offender who has escaped from custody or whose apprehension has been ordered. 254 penalty for harboring robbers or dacoits. 255 public servant disobeying direction of law with intent to save person from punishment or property from forfeiture. 256 public servant framing incorrect record or writing with intent to save person from punishment or property from forfeiture. 257 public servant in judicial proceeding corruptly making report etc. contrary to law. 258 commitment for trial or confinement by person having authority who knows that he is acting contrary to law. 259 intentional omission to apprehend or part of public servant bound to apprehend. 260 intentional omission to apprehend on part of public servant bound to apprehend person under sentence or lawfully committed. 261 escape from confinement or custody negligently suffered by public servant. 262 resistance or obstruction by person into his lawful apprehension. 263 resistance or obstruction to lawful apprehension of another person. 264 omission to apprehend or sufferance of escape on part of public servant in cases not otherwise provided for. 265 resistance or obstruction to lawful apprehension or escape or rescue in cases not otherwise provided for. 266 violation of condition of remission of punishment. 267 intentional insult or interruption to public servant sitting in judicial proceedings. 268 personation of assessor. 269 failure by person released on bail bond or bond to appear in court. Chapter 15 of offences affecting the public health, safety, convenience, decency and morals. 270 public nuisance. 271 negligent act likely to spread infection of diseases dangerous to life. 272 malignant act likely to spread infection of disease dangerous to life. 273 disobedience to quarantine rule. 274 adulteration of food or drink intended for sale. 275 sale of noxious food or drink. 276 adulteration of goods. 277 sale of adulterated drugs. 278 sale of drug as different drug or preparation. 279 fouling water of public spring or reservoir. 280 making atmosphere noxious to health. 281 rash driving or riding on a public way. 282 rash navigation of vessel. 283 exhibition of false light, mark or buoy. 284 conveying person by water for hire in unsafe or overloaded vessel. 285 danger or obstruction in public way or line of navigation. 286 negligent conduct with respect to poisonous substance. 287 negligent conduct with respect to fire or combustible matter. 288 negligent conduct with respect to explosive substance. 289 negligent conduct with respect to machinery. 290 negligent conduct with respect to pulling down, repairing or constructing buildings. 291 negligent conduct with respect to animal. 292 punishment for public nuisance in cases not otherwise provided for. 293 continuance or nuisance after injunction to discontinue. 294 sale etc. of obscene books. 295 sale etc. of obscene objects to child. 296 obscene acts and songs. 297 keeping lottery offers. Chapter 16 of offences relating to religion. 298 injuring or defiling place of worship with intent to insult religion of any class. 299 deliberate and malicious acts intended to outrage religious feelings of any class by insulting its religion or religious beliefs. 300 disturbing religious assembly. 301 trespassing on burial places etc. 302 uttering words etc. with deliberate intent to wound religious feelings of any person. Chapter 17 of offences against property. 303 is theft. 304 is snatching. 305 is theft in a dwelling house or means of transportation or place of worship. 306 is theft by clerk or servant of property in possession of master. 307 theft after preparation made for causing death, hurt or restraint in order to committing of theft. 308 is extortion. 309 robbery. 310 dacoity. 311 robbery or dacoity with attempt to cause death or grievous hurt. 312 attempt to commit robbery or dacoity when armed with deadly weapon. 313 punishment for belonging to gang of robbers etc. 314 dishonest misappropriation of property. 315 dishonest misappropriation of property possessed by deceased person at the time of his death. 316 criminal breach of trust. 317 stolen property. 318 cheating. 319 cheating by personation. 320 dishonest or fraudulent removal of concealment of property to prevent distribution amongst creditors. 321 dishonestly or fraudulently preventing debt being available for creditors. 322 dishonest or fraudulent execution of deed of transfer containing false statement of consideration. 323 dishonest or fraudulent removal or concealment of property. 324 mischief. 325 mischief by killing or maiming animal. 326 mischief by injury, inundation, fire or explosive substance etc. 327 mischief with intent to destroy or make unsafe a rail, aircraft, decked vessel, or one of 20 tons burden. 328 punishment for intentionally running vessel aground or ashore with intent to commit theft, etc. 329 criminal trespass and house trespass. 330 house trespass and house breaking. 331 punishment for house trespass or house breaking. 332 house trespass in order to commit offense. 333 house trespass after preparation for hurt, assault, or wrongful restraint. 334 dishonestly breaking open receptacle containing property. Chapter 18 of offences relating to documents to property marks. 335 making a false document. 336 forgery. 337 forge of record of court or of public register, etc. 338 forgery of valuable security will. 339 having possession of document described in section 337 or 338, knowing it to be forged and intending to use it as genuine. 340 forged document or electronic record and using it as genuine. 341 making or possessing counterfeit seal with intent to commit forgery punishable under section 338. 342 counterfeiting device or mark used for authenticating documents described in section 338 or possessing counterfeit marked material. 343 fraudulent cancellation, destruction of will, authority to adopt or valuable security. 344 falsification of accounts. 345 property mark. 346 tampering with property mark with intent to cause injury. 347 counterfeiting a property mark. 348 making or possession of any instrument for counterfeiting a property mark. 349 selling goods marked with counterfeit property mark. 350 making a false mark upon any receptacle containing goods. Chapter 19 of criminal intimidation, insult, annoyance, defamation, etc. 351 criminal intimidation. 352 intentional insult with intent to provoke breach of peace. 353 statements conducing to public mischief. 354 act caused by inducing person to believe that he will be rendered an object of. 355 misconduct in public by a drunken person. 356 defamation of breach contract to attend on and supply wants of helpless persons. 357 breach of contract to attend on and supply wants of helpless persons. 358 repeal and savings. So मुझे लगता है कि I've been able to read the index and retain some things, and I hope the same for you. And I wish you a very, very happy new year 24. Yeah, thank you. And I will soon be coming up with the new CRPC and the new evidence also, index readings, right? So be prepared, listen to it. इसको सुनो, 2 बार सुनो, 3 बार सुनो, और पढ़ाई के काम के लिए भी अच्छी है, प्रैक्टिस के लिए भी अच्छा है, और अच्छे एक लॉयर बनने के लिए, अच्छे जज बनने के लिए, अच्छे पब्लिक प्रोसिक्यूटर बनने के लिए, अच्छा इंसान बनने के लिए भी मेहनत करो, राइट? थैंक यू, बाय बाय.